to even eat as breakfast becomes highly challenging. There's someone this morning who is looking for lorry fare to go to work. There's someone this morning who cannot even get money to pay back the loan that person took from Quick Loan. In this generation, if you want to send money to anybody in this country and you don't ask the person which number you should send it, and you make a mistake and send it to that person's number, if care is not taken, Quick Loan will just snatch the money and you have to do double payments. More than 80% of Ghanaian youths go through this crisis. And so I sometimes get surprising that the party, the government, comes out again behaving as if they are an opposition party and then going around and campaigning and rather throwing tantrums on an opposition party that, I mean, is not liable to the Ghanaian people. Good morning to everybody watching us.
Yes, good morning.
It's quite interesting.
I haven't even introduced my topics yet. It's quite interesting. Okay.
Malik sets out to talk about reset.
Yeah.
You see, a nation is an amalgamation of many things. The positives, the negatives, the challenges, the successes. The duty of a government is to build on the successes while fixing the challenges. A nation is not an iPhone to be reset. So what we expect a government to do, identify the challenges, work on them, and solve and build on the successes that the nation has chalked. We have trained 5.7 million young people under the free SHS. Are you going to reset that? The successes we have chalked abate the challenges we are confronted with. Are you going to reset all the successes? That is not how nations are built. So I was actually wondering, the person who came up with that idea of a reset, perhaps that person was in a jolly ride, because it makes no sense that a party can actually think that you can reset a whole nation. And as I've said, nations are not phones to be reset.
Okay, so this is second bite. Just 1 minute. No, this is the second bite.
No, it's not the second bite. No, he just said good morning.
I said good morning. You went on the time.
Just one line. Just one line. How do you find this? Please, I beg you.
No, thank you. Let me introduce my topic. So this morning, when I give you your time, you can do that.
Very well.
So this morning we are looking at corruption. We will look at Pius Enam Ajide and what he has been saying, and we'll talk about Galamsey as well. So the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, at the bar conference, which is still ongoing, but at the opening ceremony, he bemoaned what he described as a deliberate attempt to tag his family as corrupt. And so he said, stop calling him a clearing agent. Very shortly, we'll play that video for you. But interestingly, you know, quite a number of things have popped up, including the very fresh one, which is Pius Enam Ajide, because it was that incident, or as part of the incidents for which reason the opposition NDC calls Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo a clearing agent. Because in 2018, when Ghana faced the Australian visa scandal, Pius was one of the accused persons, well, mentioned to be part of the main culprits surrounding that visa scandal. And this was said by his substantive minister, because he was a deputy minister at the time. The president had to suspend him in April. Later, the president came and said that Pius had been cleared of any wrongdoing per the investigation that was carried out by the CID. I haven't seen that report, but the president said he did. And so Pius was cleared of it. And it's one of the many reasons that the NDC calls him a clearing agent. But I'm going to start with you, Kofi, on this one. When the president says that there appears to be a deliberate attempt, what are the basis for saying that to tag his administration as corrupt?
Well, I think we have several examples of why the president would say that. You know, recently Okujeto Ablakwa did a story on lands where he tried so much to tag Asase, the radio station, as having taken state lands. But the detail per what Lands Commission has put out shows that clearly what Okudzeto Ablakwa put out was false. But this is a speaker and a member of parliament deliberately trying everything to link a land encantonment to a family member of the president, to create the impression as though the president and his family have stolen lands in Accra. That lie is an example of why the president is raising that concern. We've had instances where the president has been linked to so many activities which later turn out not to be true. So when the president raises issues that, look, every attempt is being made to tag my family, myself, and persons around me as corrupt, and many of these instances are outright lies. And even those that may be an instance that occurred, if you go into the details, you realize that they are exaggerated. So I think the president has every reason to come back and say that, look, these things are lies and Ghanaians must not believe it. That is what I believe was the basis for why the president said what he said. Yeah.
Malik.
So I'll do 1 minute of he asking why we use the slogan reset. Indeed, I won't go too far to use another example. I'll use his own example. Indeed, Ghana is not a phone to be upgraded or updated. If you want to upgrade things, then are you telling the Ghanaian people that a haircut you've given to pensioner bondholders and independent bondholders will be upgraded so that you journalists and all other persons could also get a haircut under administration? Is that what you are saying? Are you telling unpaid contractors that you are now going to upgrade their pain and cry and suffering to the extent that even the small, some of them, a few of them get, they will no longer get it, and many more contractors will be added onto the unpaid corridor? Is that what an upgrade means? So what President Mahama is saying is simply that even the free SHS we talked about, the 3-shift system, and so many other unfortunate incidents, that are being tagged onto the free SHS, like very basic lack of nutritious foods being given to the students, will be resetted, and the 3-shift system will be cancelled. They will be given highly nutritious foods, and our educational system could be back on track, still at a free rate. That is what the reset means. And so I just wanted to put that across. Now, I don't know why Mr. Akufo-Addo wants to at all costs look for classmates of corruption, of which he and Alhaji Bawumia are already members of. No matter how hard you try, you cannot get classmates in corruption. I am happy that one of the people he cleared, of which he finally attained the highest title of being not just the mother serpent of corruption, but a clearing agent, have finally vindicated the stance of the NDC. I sat on TV and I said Pius Enam Hajide took over 200 people to Austria. When they got there, it turned out that they were fake people branded as journalists. The Australian authorities deported all of them. And his own minister, Pius Enam Hajide's minister, said he wasn't in charge of visa issuing. It was Pius who brought the people, and it was Pius who led them to Austria. He brought gross international embarrassment to the people of this country. When I said it, he was jumping all around, swearing all oracle that he wasn't the one. God being so good. And you see, there's a special way the God of 2024 usually exposes criminals. God made he himself declare himself guilty. He stood there and said, just like I took people to Austria, I will take you to US. And this is what we call intended fraud. And if we don't stop it now, if it finally happens, no security person should blame anybody. He said from here to America, it's 7 hours. Tonto, you are an expert of going to America. Which plane? Maybe the Air Force One is what takes people at a 7-hour duration from Ghana to America. The best time you can go to America is 10 hours. Yet Pius, because he has intentions of duping his own constituents, collecting monies and not taking them to America, he said they only need 7 hours to get to America, which is a barefaced lie. Number two, You don't even know your fate as to whether your Black Stars that today we don't even know how they are playing will finally go to the World Cup or not. Yet you are already intending to take money from your constituents and take them to Austria. As for Pius's matter, from this platform we will have a press conference at Osojaman, and we now have documents that prove the amounts of money he took from those 200 people he took to Austria. Until now, many of those 200 people are not getting a refund.
Pius was not in Australia when the games were ongoing.
But
when before
he issued the visas to them. His minister said he was in charge of that.
How can Pius issue visas?
I mean, what I mean is that he selected the people, began the processes for them, he took the details, and then he took the details to the embassy for them to be issued visas. They got there and realized that Pius had given their names to them in pretense that the persons that were going to Austria were journalists, only for it to turn out that they were lay people he just took monies from and took them there. Don't worry.
But you you heard and the president speak that the CID report or investigation didn't find any wrongdoing on Pius's part.
Have you seen the CID report?
I haven't, but the president said it.
When the mother serpent of corruption, of which his own special prosecutor office labeled him, tells you something, you need to think twice before you accept it. Now, we're in this country, and I've decided to flag Pius's matter because at 12 o'clock there'll be breaking news, and GH1 will be first to get it, of who the character Pius is. President Akufo-Addo was the man who finally renegotiated the Ameri Innovation scandal. He ballooned the price from 510 million to 1.3 billion. President Akufo-Addo, together with Bawumia. When he was so exposed, when he was caught, he told you and I that he was misled. Till date, Mr. Akufo-Addo has not told us who misled him. Mr. Akufo-Addo has not also commenced investigations into that particular act, simply because he himself, together with Bawumia, are guilty for that crime. That one, shouldn't we call him a clear agent? Number 3, Cecilia Dapa's matter was still under investigation when President Akufo-Addo wrote a love letter. In fact, at the tail end of the letter, he said, "My dear Cecilia Dapa, I know you will be vindicated. Many love, best of luck ahead in your days." So many sweet words when this woman was under high investigation. Today we've seen what the matter has become. A woman who could stuff dollars, a woman who was given $43 million to dredge the Odo Lagoon, refused to dredge it. When she got to parliament, she couldn't even account for the money, yet we found dollars under her bed. Today, as a result of the clearing agent, we don't even know to the extent to which that particular matter has gone.
How did the Akufo-Addo clear Cecilia Dapa?
The letter he wrote, did you read it?
That is a clear, it's him saying that Cecilia Dapa is cleared of any wrongdoing.
Do you know how they sympathize with criminals? You sympathize with a criminal by showing affection to the acts of that person. That was clearly enshrined in President Akufo-Addo's letter to her. PDS, when they ballooned the contract, and in fact at that one, Alhaji Bawumia is 100% guilty, and I've said that no matter how long it takes, Bawumia will be stripped naked in that particular crime. Bawumia's PDS, they changed the condition precedent to a condition subsequent. They presented fake Carl Bank documents to government of Ghana. They got the contract. In fact, their own minister Peter Mewu said the documents Bawumia and his cronies presented were fraudulent. Till date, not a single investigation has been done in that particular matter. Charles Edubuahem, a minister of state, who said before you meet Bawumia to discuss Galamsey issues, you have to put $250,000. This is not an ordinary man. He is a man President Akufo-Addo appointed Minister of Finance at the office of the president. After he said this, investigations were done at the Special Prosecutor's office. In the concluding part of the report, the Special Prosecutor said Bawumia's crime is so big that it is bigger than the office they appointed him to. And by so doing,
let me
tell you the clause. He said we need to pass the Corrupt Practices Act before you finally investigate Bawumia's crime.
But
this was
what was his crime?
Bawumia, his crime was that his own minister said he had been leading people to pay $250,000 before you discuss concession issues with Bawumia. That was what Charles Edubuahem said, and the tape is available. The Special Prosecutor said the issue is beyond his office, and so Nana Addo should quickly, I have the report, I can read it to you. He said Nana Addo should quickly pass the Corrupt Practices Act in order that they are able to expose Bawumia in full time.
That is not what the report said.
What did the report say?
The report didn't say what you just said.
So the report didn't say they should pass the Corrupt Practices Act.
The report said that, but you said that in order to investigate Dr. Bawumia. That's not what the report said.
The special prosecutor said the investigations on the vice president haven't closed until they pass the Corrupt Practices Act to enable them fully go into the merits of the matter. That particular matter remains pending. Till now, Mr. Akufo-Addo hasn't passed that Corrupt Practices Act. When the NDC comes, we will do it and we'll strip him naked. 10,000 bags of salad rice. This is what they hate hearing. A businessman imported 10,000 bags of lily rice.
You're adding Dr. Bawumia's own to the clearing agency.
Yes, and as to how...
What did the president do in this one?
I will tell you, relax. I'm taking this step by step. When I end, I'll tell you how he cleared it. 10,000 bags.
But you moved on. You are in a different. On a different issue.
I will come. I will name it to you. Don't worry. 10,000
so finish with
bags.
one before you move to the next one.
So which one are you asking now?
I'm asking you about the Charles Edu Boahing's matter. Yes. How is the president a clearing agent in that matter?
The special prosecutor advised the president to quickly initiate the implementation and the passage of the Corrupt Practices Act. The president has been negligent in that. If indeed he wanted to investigate this particular matter, he would have quickly passed that act. Why? Haven't we seen bills that have been rushed to parliament, brought back, and the president appended his signature on? Why is it that the president is not interested in this particular matter? So that should tell you that he is not interested in investigating the corrupt practices of his own vice president. 10,000 bags of salad rice. A businessman brought 10,000 bags of lily rice. It was sitting at the port. Bawumia, through his own administrator, Kekosei, decided to write a letter on the letterhead of Bawumia, seeking that the rice be brought and shared as salad rice. When Kekosei was caught and the matter taken to the special prosecutor's office, Bawumia said he wasn't the one sharing salad rice. It was his administrator. That letter came from Bawumia's office. So till now, Kekosei is still the administrator in Bawumia's office. Yet President Akufo-Addo and all the highest authorities have decided to play negligent in that particular matter. Of all the corrupt scandals in this country, we've had Galamsey fraud, we've had Abobo Yas flying into the sky, we've had high-ranking officials of this particular government engaging in different levels of corruption. President Akufo-Addo still has the tenacity to mount a podium and say my government is free of all these corrupt practices. You see, I won't blame Mr. Akufo-Addo so much because he himself has many questions to answer in respect of the corrupt things they have done at the presidency. And that is why I wasn't surprised when Martin Amidu, who knows Mr. Akufo-Addo so well, decided to say that of all corrupt snakes, Mr. Akufo-Addo is their mother.
Okay,
because Mr.
I have the report.
Is one man. Good.
Malik, I have the special prosecutor's report. And at no point is the vice president mentioned in that report at the concluding part. Hold on.
So read the concluding part.
Though the conduct of Mr. Edu Boahing amounts to trading in influence or influence peddling, which is closely associated with corruption, there is no actual criminal prohibition of his act in respect of which the OSP has a mandate to further act. Hold on. On that reckoning, the special prosecutor directs the closure at this time of the investigation in respect of allegations of corruption and corruption-related offences involving Charles Edu Boahing, contained in the investigative documentary titled Galamsey Economy, published by the Tiger IPI. The investigation may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. It goes on commendation.
I like that.
The OSP commends the president for the referral to the OSP for the conduct of investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offences involving Mr. Edu Boahing. Where does it state that Dr. Bawumia's crime is so huge that they don't have the lawsuit?
Fantastic. Hold on. Who was this? What was this investigation about? It was about Charles Edu Boahing and who?
It was about Charles Edu Boahing. I don't think that there was the investigation.
So let me remind you, what commenced this investigation was Charles Edu Boahing saying that he knows Bawumia so well. Hold on, that before you meet Bawumia to discuss Galamsey issues, you have to bring $250,000. True or false? We are mute.
And I don't have to answer that. He's here, you answer that.
So After that was said by Charles Edubwahin, the special prosecutor commenced investigation into acts of what Charles Edubwahin said against the vice president. And in determining whether it was true or false, the special prosecutor says we need to pass a Corrupt Practices Act. And this particular matter may be reopened. Did you read that?
The Corrupt Practices Act is in reference to Charles Edubwahin.
And the vice president
prosecutor said it doesn't mention the vice president. Malik,
whatever Charles Edubwahin said, that made him stand in investigation. It's about the vice president, true or false. Charles Edubwahin spoke about his relationship with the vice president and said, in order to do galamsey, in order to go on site and work. And you see, my surprise in this particular matter, especially when I heard Charles Edubwahin talking, was how Bawumia is so abreast with issues of galamsey. Because in the northern part of the country, we have very few galamsey sites. So how did Bawumia learn galamsey on the job? That has been my worry in this particular matter. So with what you are saying, it's not even a major worry to me. My major worry is how Bawumia learns galamsey, to the extent that he and Charles Edubwahin, according to Charles Edubwahin, need to sit down, take $250,000 from people before Bawumia gives you concessions. I am saying that when the NDC comes, we'll pass the Corrupt Practices Act. We'll put Bawumia and Charles Edubwahin, who are very good friends, in the witness box, and we'll see how that particular matter will end. So let me quickly talk about Alistair Matthias, who was a gold mafia. And this one again is on the neck of Mr. Akufo-Addo and Bawumia. A gold mafia who said his best friend was Mr. Akufo-Addo, and they had been laundering money like granates, and even gold that Mr. Akufo-Addo gave him. He's been traveling around the world with it. When Al Jazeera exposed him, Mr. Akufo-Addo wrote a letter to Al Jazeera, so if you remember, asking Al Jazeera.
You know, I still on that report,
yes,
right?
I'm
Hold on, yes. I want us to conclude the matter, because the OSP report on that same issue. Let me quickly read it. The OSP said that Mr. Edubwahin exhibited lack of sound judgment. His claim that he accepted the cash gift to avoid offending the supposed sheikh lies very thinly, and his suggestion that the payment of an appearance fee of $250,000 to the vice president was reckless, especially as the vice president was unaware.
You've heard the vice president.
Hold on.
You said you didn't hear Bawumia.
Especially hold on. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying.
Go on.
Especially as the vice president was unaware of the business he was conducting and had not tasked him to demand money of whatever description on his behalf.
When Atayi first appeared in court, he denied all the theft cases.
This is not Dr. Bawumia that is saying this.
I am saying that when this man was speaking in camera without knowing that he was being recorded, he said emphatically that he had been taking people to Bawumia and giving them $250,000. When the investigation, when he finally realized,
I don't think I heard him say that he has been
play
taking
the video.
people.
Now let me even read this act. I was coming to read the act you just read, where Bawumia's name was mentioned. You said there was nowhere in the report the vice president was mentioned.
I didn't say that.
So now hold on. Read 7.3.
I didn't say that.
So read 7.3. Hold on.
She said in the conclusion.
Which act?
The 7.3. This is the report. This same report.
Okay, you mean the report?
Open it. Go to paragraph 7.3. Open the report. The non-prohibition of most predicate acts of corruption and corruption-related offences endangers impunity of malevolent conduct and the erosion of democratic tenets, which spawn formidable hurdles in the fight against corruption, especially in the public sector. On this score, and this was about the report of the Vice President and Charles Edubwahin, the OSP calls for the immediate passage of the Corrupt Practices Act to comprehensively codify the prohibition of all forms of corruption. The OSP joins up the positive, persistent calls of the pressure groups occupied by Ghana. Before,
what's the vice president mentioned here?
I have just explained to you that the entire report. Hold on, the entire report
was about Charles Edubwahin
and the vice president.
No. But listen, the part where you talk about the passage or the OSP calling on the president to pass that act, the OSP specifically said that the conduct of Mr. Edubwahin amounts to trading in influence peddling. And on that score, the OSP does not have the mandate to investigate him on that. And so his recommendation is that...
So influence peddling against who? Influence peddle against who? Because we peddle influence on someone. So who did we peddle influence on? Just answer that.
But the vice president, was not the subject of investigation.
So
was he?
So the influence peddling. Hold on. In influence peddling, before I'm tagged or investigated for influence peddling, I should have used someone's name. True or false? So whose name did Charles Edubuahin use? It was even stated in the earlier paragraph you quoted that Charles Edubuahin said all what he was doing. Indeed, he mentioned the vice president's name, but the vice president knew nothing about it. Wasn't what he said there. So indeed, this entire investigation was about influence peddled using the vice president's name. The determination as to whether it was true or false cannot be determined until the Corrupt Practices Act is passed. And by so doing, we'll go into full investigation of Bawumia again and Charles Edubuahin, and then would ascertain as to whether it was true or false. That hasn't been determined yet.
Did you read that statement from the vice president?
Of what?
When this matter came up.
Are you taking the vice president's word? I'm saying that when
I'm just asking,
so
did you read it?
Of course.
Okay.
The vice president disassociated himself from it. And I'm telling you that even when Atayi went to court, he said he wasn't guilty. We've caught people killing people. They went to court and said they weren't guilty. Do you expect Bawumia, after all the taking $250,000, to come and tell you that, yes, Sewa, you see, you've been smiling to me, I want to tell you the truth. The truth is that I took $250,000. He will never do that until he's stripped naked. And John Mahama is saying that through his oral policy will strip him naked, whether they like it or not, and many of them will go to jail. Now, on the matter of the Alistair Matthias, I had already stated that the president threatened Al Jazeera. You read the letter. The brand Al Jazeera should retract, or they'll sue them through Koesuma. Till date, Mr. Akufo-Addo has not had the courage and balls to take Al Jazeera to any court, and that's simply because he's indicted in this particular matter. When Nyantechi came and said, when you give Mr. Akufo-Addo 3 million, you will just catch him and put in your pocket. When you give Bawumia 2 million, he will shake the head. All the contracts in this country will be for you. Nyantechi again used their names. How did Nyantechi know even the chair Mr. Akufo-Addo was sitting on in his hotel? He said, when you enter the hotel, look left. Mr. Akufo-Addo sits there. Anytime he's ready to take 3 million, that is where he sits. Till date, Sewa, tell me what came out of the Nyantechi matter. Nothing.
That one's with Akufo-Addo cleared.
That one too, nothing came out of it.
The case is in court. So how is that? How is Akufo-Addo a clearing agent for that?
For how many years now?
But Akufo-Addo is not a judge.
Mr. Akufo-Addo mounted the podium immediately after that incident to say that nothing was true in that particular matter, and that is why till now no report has been brought. Anybody who has engaged in corruption under his administration, Mr. Akufo-Addo is first to mount a podium. Health minister, when the health minister ballooned the contract, COVID-19 drugs from $9 to $19, his friend Sheikh Al Maktoum, a Dubai sheikh who is known to be a rascal in the entire world, they partnered and ballooned the price, bought COVID-19 drugs. The minister himself sat in parliament and said we should forgive him his sins. He wasn't thinking right. He was under pressure. He will never repeat that corrupt act again. So does corruption have forgive me? I'll never repeat it again. He admitted guilt. Mr. Akufo-Addo went to his hometown. You remember, Doma? Stood there. When investigations were going on, he said, Munja Health Minister Bredodo, leave him in peace. The man has, yes, taken our money away, but leave him. And you said this man is not a clearing agent. Look, I don't want to bring incidents of where Mr. Akufo-Addo was even seen taking brown envelope with 2 hands and salivating, because all those matters will still be investigated. But the point we are making in this one is that, look, corruption has been the canker of this particular country. And so we cannot continue on that tangent. There are villages that need schools, villages that need hospitals. And as a government, if you decide to misappropriate the funds, just yesterday, shamelessly, our Baba Yara Sports Stadium cannot even be used to play games. They have ruled us out. Yet, Mr. Akufo-Addo and co. have sat down and they have sunk $1 billion+ in the National Cathedral. Go and look at it. It is a left abandoned hole. Yet, high-rise judges' buildings were collapsed in that particular matter. Companies, the passport office together with other many offices were collapsed and grounded. $1 billion wasted in it. Yet our stadiums are not even fit for purpose. Roads are being damaged everywhere. Lives are derailing. And there's high inflation in this country. All because this government has decided, together with the appointees, to siphon funds that belong to people. And because they have the mother serpent of corruption as president, together with his deputy Alhaji Bawumia, they've decided to turn a blind eye to it. So we must one day kneel down and plead on Mr. Akufo-Addo. The corruption is too much under his government. I know that the people have taken a decision to vote out this inept government. I haven't even spoken about family affairs. Tonto is sitting here, highly qualified to be ambassador at large. Yet Mr. Akufo-Addo has given his own secretary again another appointment as ambassador at large. 2 appointments to 1 person. Since when did we start sharing the national cake in a family house? Since when? If you gave that position to somebody too, at least it will roll out to somebody, your family member alone. And you see, the reason why family and friends breeds corruption is that when Bawumia gave his sister Laraba, they made the NDA boss. Aboboyas got missing. No investigation was done in that matter because that is his sister. He cannot investigate her. Jankroma, the president's daughter, he appointed her to the Creative Art Industry Board for the first time, where a president decides to share a national cake in his family house. When the moving Pina matter came, where they siphoned fuel in this country, no investigation was done. Baumia's brother, Abraham Baumia, they have balloon contracts and given to him. The Sunyani airport was ballooned and given to him. Inflated cost, no public procurement authority laws, and that it was sole sourced. I mean, just breached every law in this country. Because it is Baumia's brother, nobody can touch it. And that is how they are siphoning funds with their family members and all of that. And when we talk about it, Mr. Akufo-Addo thinks that he must look for somebody to come and become his classmate. And when I heard him speak about government official one, I said, oh my God. So this matter that has been brought to conclusion, you are going back to hit it again.
All right. Thank you. Kofi.
Yeah, so once again, thank you very much. I'm sure the young people listening to my brother are very confused. Very, very confused. Because he's gone all over the place. And you've tried so much to bring him to line. But you see, Malik comes with his notebook. He has all these things already prepared. So whatever topic you give Malik, he has to find a way and maneuver his way to what he wants to discuss. You asked a very simple question. He's gone around to make it about Bawumia in instances where he has no basis. But I'll come to that. But Malik, on the upgrade and the reset, let me quickly correct you. I told you that the nation is amalgamation of many things, positives and negatives, successes and challenges. You build on the successes and you fix the challenges. So if there is a haircut issue, that is a challenge. You can fix that challenge. But you don't reset every aspect of a nation, because there are many positives as well. So perhaps you didn't take time to listen to me. As usual, you had your own answers before listening to what I was saying. Now, Malik talks about clearing agent. You cite Edubuahin's example, which Edubuahin's example is actually a perfect example of the president not clearing anyone. Because the president said, take it to the OSP, investigate it. If a president sends something to the OSP, is that clearing the person? Sends his own minister to the OSP to investigate him. You talk about Cecilia Dapa. Is the OSP not investigating Cecilia Dapa? Was she not investigated by Cecilia Dapa? How does that amount to clearing? Take STL, for example. That issue came up. The president said, investigate it. KPMG did a whole report on it.
SML.
SML.
Not STL.
The KPMG did a whole report on it. The president released a white paper and then released the entire report. How does that amount to clearing?
Why didn't he release the report on Pius?
The report on Pius, for me, I'll find out what the details are. But if there is a report and the president, you see, the thing is that I would have to find out the reasons behind it.
Fantastic
question. But I'm telling you so many examples of the president putting out reports, sending his own appointees to investigative bodies to investigate him. So we can come to the Pius issue and look at the basis for it. No issues there.
But that Pius's issue is not the only issue where it appears that the president cleared his appointee.
Okay.
There's the Boss Contaminated Fuel saga. You remember, even before the minister, could set up the committee to investigate that matter, the president already came out, and said that the national security had done their work and they found nothing wrong. You remember?
But if the national security had done their report and had found nothing wrong, are you saying that the president shouldn't put that information out?
But the ministers' committee did their work, and they found out that indeed there was some wrongdoing.
So no, I'm saying that the national security does a report. the president reports on that. Are you saying the president shouldn't report on that? If the ministers' committee does a separate report and find anything, that's the ministers' committee. We work with that as well. Where is the issue? The point that I'm making to you is that the president on many instances has sent his own people to institutions to be investigated. And I was simply reminding him that his own examples that he used were examples that the president sent the people there. Now, he talks about Charles Edubuahin and His Excellency the Vice President. First of all, let me put it on record. His Excellency the Vice President has not sent anyone and never sent anyone to go and represent him and take money from anyone on his behalf. Not a minister, not a political assistant, not anyone in his office. So that matter has been put to rest. And even per the report you read, OSP said the minister acted recklessly. So are you saying that if the vice president did something, the OSP wouldn't say it? The OSC has proven time and again that persons in this government, he will investigate. Is that not so? He's called persons in this government to his office. So he's not someone to shield anyone. So let's put this matter to rest. And I recall that when this issue came up, anti-corrupt agencies, several anti-corrupt agencies came out and said that the vice president is not corrupt. That they know. Now you go on to talk about the vice president's brother,
Abraham.
This is a man of high values, a man who has done the business for so long, a man whose business your president, President Mahama's government upgraded. You know, when you are a contractor, you have different gradings. It was under President Mahama's government that his business was upgraded to a higher standard. He was giving contracts then. Are you saying that the contracts that your government gave him were also dubious contracts? In fact, the very contract that you are referencing, he bidded the lowest amount. Other persons bidded 3 times that amount. His amount, which you claim to be a bloated amount, was the lowest. So that also is a lie. So I don't know why you guys are attempting so much. Every attempt to tag the vice president as corrupt, and all these attempts have failed. Now let's come to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. We were in this country when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said that we have electricity problems. So he's going to bring what we call IPPs. And so I'll send you a report by a gentleman named Saad Hassan, who did a whole investigative report on IPPs and how IPPs are destroying emerging economies. I'm talking about the independent power producers. How the independent power producers are destroying emerging economies. Guess which president that detailed report mentioned? John Dramani Mahama. And this is a report not done by a Ghanaian or African. It talks about how John Dramani Mahama's decisions impacted Ghana negatively and put us in a mess. And he also spoke about the fact that John Dramani Mahama, after making benefits, went as far as Namibia, leading the very Ameri that he's talking about. John Mahama led Ameri to Namibia so that the Namibia government can also go into IPP arrangements because of how lucrative the middleman agenda is. John Mahama played that middleman agenda. I'll send you the report. It's a very detailed report on the history of IPPs. Now you talk about Mother Serpent and how Amidu said His Excellency is a mother serpent, etc. The very same Amidu that John Dramani Mahama called a coward. Do you remember? Called him a coward. He said that he is stupid.
Who's stupid?
Martin Amidu.
Joma, what's your stop?
Oh, I can read it to you.
Oh,
I can read it to you. I have it here.
Go.
You know, when Amedu was investigating an issue, and then in the investigation was investigating the Ajapa issue, and then in that he spoke about the Airbus issue. President Mahama got angry that you are supposed to investigate Ajapa. Why are you talking about Airbus? What kind of stupidity is that? I have it here. So the very person that you want to ride on as the person who is calling someone a mother serpent also question the credibility of John Dramani Mahama. So the point that I want to make to you is that the issue of clearing agents, His Excellency the President has proven time and again that he's not a clearing agent.
Okay.
Do you want us to remind you of what happened in Brazil?
But does that make them a clearing agent?
Does that make you a clearing agent?
Does that make the NDC or John Mahama a clearing agent?
Fantastic.
What happened in Brazil? After the investigation, what happened? The persons who were accused, and what happened? They were invited to work where? At the presidency. What is more of a clearing agent job than someone who has been accused of going to Brazil to engage in activities that embarrass the whole nation? You invite that person to come and work at the Jubilee House.
By that logic, then Ekufuado is also a clearing agent,
so?
because after the Pius issue, he reinstated Pius into his old position.
He reinstated Pius after a report had vindicated Pius.
Which report?
You even said it here.
But I haven't seen it.
Yeah, the fact that you haven't seen it doesn't mean there isn't a report.
But that is where the problem
How
is.
did you?
That is where the problem is.
There is
We
a
haven't
report.
seen the report.
Yeah, you haven't seen the report doesn't mean the report doesn't exist. I heard you saying it. You referenced that report.
But don't you think that we need to
but
we
you
deserve
are
to
a
see the
media.
report?
You can go to the police. You have the right to information bill.
At the time,
To
it had
help,
not
no,
been
you have
passed.
it now.
Yes.
The right to information bill
Now
has
it
no
exists.
statutory limit.
Of course,
You
I'm
can
saying at the
use
time, it
yes,
had not
you
been
can
passed,
use it.
so-
Anybody can use the right to information bill to access anything that they want to access. The fact of the matter is, and you stated it, that the report vindicated Pius. So the president had every right to engage Pius again. It is not the same where persons who went to Brazil and embarrassed the whole nation were asked to work at Jubilee House. I recall when President Mahama came and told us that he's going to build a $10 billion project.
But I mean, on that Brazil, was there anybody that was accused of any crime? It was a fact-finding commission. It was televised live on air.
Okay.
We all watched it. Was anybody accused of any crime?
First of all, do you recall what transpired at the committee level?
It was a fact-finding commission.
Do you have the report and all the details of the report?
We'll get it to you.
It became evident. We all saw it. Are you saying that you don't recall how this was a major scandal in this country?
I do recall that very much, but who was accused of a crime? That's what I'm asking.
The persons, no, see, you can talk about criminality. You can talk about actions that affect the state and the image of the state and what those persons did. And the president engaging such persons again. Are you saying that only criminality is the form of a behavior that the nation should guard against?
Certainly not. I mean, anything that
Yes.
brings embarrassment
Of
to the
course.
nation.
Of
And that
course.
also happened in the Pius case. It was a huge embarrassment.
Okay, but in Pius's case,
He was investigated.
yes, investigated and vindicated. So what's the point?
Okay.
So the point that I'm making to you is that President Ekufuado has proven time and again that he's not a clearing agent. He has sent his own people to be investigated.
Okay.
Do you know the JIDA report that they claim that they did a JIDA report, blah blah blah, to even avoid Ghanaians from reading the report and interrogating it? His Excellency John Dramani Mahama released that JIDA report the midnight, the day the Supreme Court ruling on the 2024 election petition was given. Deliberately done so that nobody will pay attention to the report. So Mr. Mahama has no credibility in terms of all these things that you are referencing. There are so many examples that we can cite. So many examples. So please, let's not even go there.
Okay, so quickly. He's spoken about so many things. I'm happy that none of them, he's not been able to tag President Mahama to any and indict him. I'm happy. At least President Mahama is clean. And that fact remains. And we have all agreed. Now, he's talking about people re-engaging people. Admitted that it is true that President Mahama even re-engaged the most corrupt people. I realized that you were prompting him that he should tell you the ruling of the Brazil saga. It was a fact-finding committee. What was the ruling? Who was declared corrupt? Who was declared guilty? You are asking him and he was fumbling. He was fumbling. Now, Charles Bissiu, you remember him? The first man to be caught on tape counting corrupt money. We all know that when they give somebody corrupt money, he puts it in a packet. Charles Bissiu was counting to see how much the corrupt money was, using saliva. Mr. Akufo-Addo, I beg your pardon. You see, when he was talking, I was very quiet. I had a lot of reasons.
But he's kept quiet now.
Yes, I had a lot of reasons to interject, but I allowed you. I beg your pardon. Charles Bissiu was still put at the presidency as a presidential staffer. Even when we caught him, there is no evidence higher than visual evidence. We saw it, Gafili Gadoche. We watched him, how he was salivating for corrupt money. Mr. Akufo-Addo still patted his back and put him at the presidency. Charles Bissiu was a presidential staffer still with President Akufo-Addo. Kekosei, who the vice president used in sharing that 10,000 bags of salad rice, is still the administrator of the vice president.
That's not true.
I beg your pardon.
Can
you control your guests?
I forgot to address it. That's not true.
You had your time. You said a lot of things.
Okay, no, I'll come back. Go ahead.
Please, respectfully. He's there. As we are speaking now, by now he's sitting in Baumia's office watching us on TV and laughing. Because whatever we say here cannot affect him. Baumia accepts and condones such acts. He's talking about bad decisions. $2 million was paid for the Sky Train project. Tonto, from here, go and show me where one Sky Train is in this country. Even the land trains haven't moved. Yet your government have already paid $2 million, according to the Auditor General, to the contractor, and has declared the project completed.
How?
Sky Train in this country, $2 million paid to the contractor. From here, Tonto, go and show me where a Sky Train is in this country. Those are bad decisions. Ameri, you dare talk about Ameri again? Hey, you people made noise about Ameri. President Mahama ballooned it, increased it to 5-10 million. They took a delegation to Dubai, you remember, to go and investigate Ameri. Lawyer Addison. So what do you remember? Lawyer Addison was their leader. They collected per diem with our taxes, went and slept in hotels, big hotels, enjoyed in Dubai, and came and told we the Ghanaian people that they didn't find anything in Ameri. Then Akufo-Addo said, if you've not found anything, I will put something on it. And that was how come they ballooned Ameri from 510 to 1.3 million. They would have stolen over 800 million of the taxpayers' money. Parliament had to expose them. And Mr. Akufo-Addo said he was misled. Till date, he hasn't told us who misled him. Because they know what they wanted to do in that particular corrupt scandal. You talk about Martin Amidu. At Martin Amidu's vetting, and let me quote him. He said all the allegations labeled against President Mahama, you remember, were based on perception. He said he perceived President Mahama to be corrupt because of what some people said. President Mahama has been vindicated. President Mahama has stood every trial. In fact, I remember that there were times where I told President Mahama personally, and this one I'm confessing on air, as I said, why do you allow them investigate you of these careless things? He said, Malik, let me do this so that if I'm vindicated, Ghanaians will believe me. And let me quote what you said. about President Mahama insulting Martin Amidu to be stopped. Look, this is it. You decided to pick and choose. Tonto, we are learning from Bawumia. You have to stop that. John Mahama said, what stupidity is this?
But I quoted.
Hold on. Hold on.
But
you didn't add the second part. Let me read
the second part.
Now let me read it. You see?
Why should I have to add the second part?
Have you heard that?
What are you talking about?
Have you heard that? The
Why should I have to add it? But did you say what I said?
Read to us.
But what he said, he did say.
Listen. He said Mahama's response
you are
when
sitting on
he
TV
was
live.
called government official one. So you call him government official one. And he said,
but he said government official one.
He said that.
And
he was investigating was Ejapa. Why is he bringing in Airbus? What sort of stupidity is that? That's exactly what he said.
To that statement, not at
but that's the same thing you have said.
So that was not to Martin. He didn't say Martin was stupid. He was only quoted.
But who was investigating Ejapa?
This is not the substance of the matter.
Your boss, Sami, what hasn't Sami said about Martin?
Can you stop?
Okay, you have stopped. You are my brother, so I've stopped.
Respectfully, Tonto Dike.
Go ahead.
Look.
He's not Tonto Dike.
Tonto, sorry, Kofi Tonto. You see, if in all of this, all what I'm saying is that when Martin Amidu was before the committee, he said all the corrupt acts he leveled against President Mahama were based on perception. But he went further to say something interesting. He said for him, this office he has accepted, he's accepting because he feels Mr. Akufo-Addo is not corrupt. Because he cannot stay a day with corrupt officials. You remember? He said he can't stay 1 second with criminals and hooligans and scallywags. When Martin Amidu one afternoon told you and I that corruption was choking him and Mr. Akufo-Addo was the biggest mother serpent of corruption, he cannot survive in this country if he does not run out of the office. We were looking at Martin Amidu this way. He thought corruption was a cow that he would just play with. He didn't know what Mr. Akufo-Addo and Bawumia had turned themselves into to be duping from the state in a very huge manner. So, look, when we talk about these things, Tonto should understand that it is for the national cause. I don't hate Akufo-Addo. And it is not my fault that Mr. Akufo-Addo is corrupt and a clearing agent. I don't hate Bawumia. And it's not my fault that Bawumia is corrupt and a clearing agent. All what I want them to do is the right thing. At least, if not for anything, they should remember where we come from. Look, Bawumia led a team to go and cut sword for Palugu irrigation dam. And so, well, anytime I talk about Palugu, I feel like crying. Because anytime it rains, as it stands now, you are aware they've spilled the Bagre Dam. Now that they've spilled the dam, it's going to start consuming houses. And it's going to start from Bawumia's hometown, northeast. It will consume houses and consume into Savannah region. Because anytime the water comes, we're able to divert it into an irrigation dam. A project you cut short for. 124 million Ghana cedis already paid to start the project. They squandered the money. Till now. The blocks the contractor brought to the site, he brought 153 blocks. He has sold 150 of them. Only 3 blocks are left. They are waiting for who will come and buy. The trip of sand, chippings they brought to the site, they sold it to the assemblyman. The contractor left site. Yet, Bawumia and his cronies, they've already paid 123 million for no job done in that particular one. If you want to be wicked, I beg your pardon. If you want to be wicked to the Ghanaian people, is this what you must do to your own hometown, your own backyard? Contracts they decided to pretend. The Inland Port, LMI Holdings, they cut off for the project. They paid over 200 million. Yet sometimes the chief of Deborah asks himself whether he is still sitting in Deborah, because he's expecting to see a port there. They have paid money, they've declared the project completed, yet they've squandered the money. When we talk about corrupt things this way, we are talking about the future of this country. One of the policies of President Mahama that touches my heart is the oral policy. Operation Return All the Loot. We will squeeze their corrupt balls. We will return the monies they have stolen and we'll use it for the development of this country. On this set, Sewa, and thank God you were the host. A minister was sitting here, just here. And he was admitting to how he bought state lands, a contract that was awarded, he awarded to his own brother, they've paid monies, they haven't done. He was here in this studio, you were the host, thank God. And that day, I saw how you were looking at him. You were just looking at a man who will go to jail when NDC comes.
I'm sorry, you looked at me and you saw that?
Yes, I could feel it. The most important aspect of that particular discussion was that this government is an entire embodiment of corruption. And whether you like it or not, Mr. Akufo-Addo and Bawumia will never get classmates outside their party for that corrupt class. They should continue sitting in it and waiting for President Mahama to come, so we prosecute them one by one and show them how, when you steal, you should be treated. Only Atai cannot suffer the crimes of theft. MPP appointees must also suffer their crimes of theft. So,
Kofi, you want to quickly respond to that?
Let me put it on record.
Yeah.
Young people listening to us, the bragging he's doing about arresting people, taking money, all of that. They've had the opportunity to do this before. They've bragged before. And they came to power. John Mills of blessed memory.
He's not the one contestant.
And then John President. They couldn't do FOCO.
Okay.
Just talks. So young people who may not have been there at that time, they are just a bunch of talkers.
Okay. Malik Basintale wasn't there by then.
They are just a bunch of talkers.
I mean, he raises a very important point.
So the point is that
allegations.
The same things.
The
same things.
But no successful prosecution.
And I said wallahi. I said wallahi 3 times.
Malik, let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. I sat on this seat and I said wallahi 3 times.
Wallahi what?
Wallahi
what would you do? Malik, don't worry. What would you do? What powers do you have?
You won't prosecute.
Malik, what powers do you have?
You let me tell you.
You don't determine that, Malik.
What powers do you have?
Tonto currently does not hold an appointment in his government, so that's why he's free. He's saying all these things because he's not been in.
Malik,
currently we are lobbying for a position for him. But those who have been appointed,
let him speak.
But you said I should speak.
So go on.
What is this?
You go on.
Young people listening to me, there are laws in this country. No president has any power to go and arrest anybody in this country. Let me tell you what the record is. No president has any power to go and arrest anybody. If somebody is found of being corrupt, there are laws, and the laws will work. If the state attorney determines that person A is corrupt, the state attorney will file a case in the competent court of jurisdiction, and the person will face the full rigors of the law. And that power does not lie in the pocket of John Dramani Mahama
or Malik
or you.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't lie in your pocket.
When we get there,
so let that record be set straight. That so-called oral is absolutely bogus.
Okay.
The laws will work. You can't just come and say I'm going to arrest people. On what basis?
Okay.
You can do your investigation, establish a prima facie. Once you establish a prima facie, take a person to court, and the person will face the law.
Okay.
And that is why in your last regime,
we shall see.
You took people to court and you couldn't do anything.
We shall see.
You couldn't do anything. So stop bragging about we are going to jail people, etc.
And on that, very quickly, before you continue. I mean, Malik, what he's saying about the oral, because it's a concern that many people have raised. Asabi and his wife then, I mean, under the Kufuor administration, they were only stopped from boarding a plane. There was the issue of Kujum Pieni, and Tarzan over Ghana at 50. You made all sorts of promises. In fact, some went to court. They were freed. This oral promise that you are making to the young people of Ghana every single time, because I follow you on Twitter. I see the promises. You sit here, you speak so passionately about sending people to jail. Are you not repeating the same thing, making these promises and not even fulfilling them if you come to power?
I'm not repeating the same thing because I wasn't in their government. I'm saying new things.
But what can you do?
We shall see. Don't worry.
It's not about you shall see.
Don't worry. I won't talk much.
Young people listening to me, Malik is only bragging.
You see?
I'm telling you, he's only bragging.
I nauseate at corruption.
Look, what are you talking
and
about? You follow a corrupt man and you nauseate at corruption. What are you talking about?
I nauseate at corruption. And I hate, and that is why when President Mahama said he will stand every investigation, even though I didn't like it, I was happy. And he's been vindicated.
He's not.
Now, those who are going to stand investigation, I sat in this studio, said, well, you were here. And I said, when we get there, let no statesman come begging us or begging President Akufo-Addo to temper justice with mercy. Let me tell you what happened.
Former President Mahama was vice president then.
People, and that's what you see.
Even at the time, I mean, worse things were said. People would go to jail, but there was not a single successful prosecution.
When I made the clause that let no man come begging again, I know why I said that.
So you mean at the time people came begging?
In 2008,
people came begging.
President Mahama was President Atamel, was president. President Atamel decided that he was going to take a different approach. And I said this here.
But people were taken to court. They were freed. That is not President Mills' doing. He doesn't free people who are taken to court.
He commences investigations into matters.
But he doesn't free people who go to court.
At Mills, the president commences investigations into people. So the president has the power to commence an investigation into anybody's crime. At Mills in 2008. You see, I don't blame Tonto for saying that. I agree with him entirely. You know why? Let me make my point. I agree with Tonto when he says that.
Please quickly wrap up, because many people just say that you're bragging Malik. He's not the only one.
I agree.
People who have lived through that administration say that.
Regrettably unfortunate. We caused it in 2008.
So do you admit that you were just bragging again?
In 2008, I wasn't part of the administration.
Even the vice president, your flag bearer, who was vice president, couldn't see to a successful prosecution. But you, who is not a vice president,
I am saying that
you think that because you're part of this administration, you'll be able to get successful prosecution.
I am saying that in 2008, 2009, when stakeholders intervened, so I heard, Mills decided to temper justice with mercy.
With the people who allegedly stole the country's money.
I say this here, regrettably unfortunate. I'm making that point. I'm saying that when it is not right.
That Mills decided to let, of blessed memory, decided to let people who had engaged in corrupt practices go because he was bad.
He decided to temper justice with mercy and then focus on
at the expense of the country.
And focus on development.
I see.
In 2000, yes, I'm saying this regrettably unfortunate. In 2025, John Dramani Mahama will not, and I'm saying this emphatically, allow mercy, or justice to be tempered with mercy. It will happen, and that is why it has been boldly enshrined in our policies. I've said that 2008 matter, though I wasn't part of the administration, but I regret it. And that is why people like Tonto and Kofi Tonto have the effrontery to say you said it before, you didn't do it. Yes, you can say that. But in 2025, you are going to talk about this.
It's okay, thank you.
In 2025, you will see things yourself.
Please continue.
And the young people know that.
Young people listening to me, Malik has just told you that your monies were so-called, quote-unquote, stolen. But the NDC didn't care about your monies to protect your interest, and they let people go on the basis of mercy.
No problem.
That is what Malik just told you.
No problem.
That you, for 8 years, allowed people to take some Ghanaians' money, and you did nothing about it.
No problem.
Please listen to the person talking.
Yes.
Now, Sarah, before I wrap up, any young person listening to me, kindly go on Google and Google this story. How commercial power companies are wreaking havoc in developing countries. How commercial power companies are wreaking havoc in developing countries by Saad Hassan. It will tell you the corruption, the terrible decisions John Dramani Mahama took. Just take time and read it. You will regret ever supporting the person John Dramani Mahama. He was a disaster and will be a disaster again. This is a man who is a campaign of corruption. Look, Mary, as I've said, read this report. He didn't just end the campaign of corruption here. He wanted to take it to Namibia. Ford Expedition, Bas Brandon, Sada, Jida. I mean, this is the man. Hope City. This is a man who came and told us he's going to build a 10 billion city in Ghana. Have you forgotten? Malik, maybe you're not doing politics then. 10 billion.
This one.
Hope City. What happened to it? STS. What happened to it?
You are misfiring, my brother.
Even the Saglame, so-called. John Dramani Mahama, young people, listen to me. John Dramani Mahama took $200 million from Credit Suisse to build 5,000 homes. He squandered that $200 million and only built 1,513 homes, as against 5,000 homes. Where is that money?
Massa.
This is the person we're talking about.
We'll arrest him.
This is the person Why?
You are
Is that
in-
issue not in court?
But you are in government
Is that
arrest.
issue not, is Collins Dowda not in court?
So is your mama in
Is
court?
Collins Dowda,
Is
was
your
he,
mama in
the,
court?
was he not the one who
Is your
supervised
mama in
the
court? You are
was he
Collins
not,
Dowda.
wa-
You
was,
have said it
was
as
it not
President
John
Mama.
Mohammed's
You
government?
see.
Please allow him
But
to
you
finish.
said here-
Let him
You
finish.
sat here and
Kofi, please go on.
cited instances
That's
that
about
happened
Yinka.
in the Akufo-Addo's government, and you have linked those instances to Akufo-Addo. But if an instance happened in John Mohammed's government, I can't link it to him. You go and take $200 million from Credit Suisse to come and build 5,000 homes. You only build 1,513 homes, and you have the effrontery to talk about corruption. He is the kingpin of corruption. So, Sewa, let that record be set straight. Lastly, how can somebody who doesn't have the power be a clearing agent? Is Bawumia the president? Does Bawumia have the powers to say anything to clear anybody in this country? We are educating the masses. Young people are watching. The vice president has absolutely no power to determine any legal case in this country. Don't allow Malik, he's my good brother, but don't allow him to lie to you what he's been doing on TikTok. Don't allow him. He's peddling falsehood. Bawumia has no such powers. And lastly, this Kekosei thing that you keep talking about. What are you talking about, Malik? When was the last time you went to the vice president's office and saw the gentleman working there? What are you talking about? Please stop lying. It's not true. So we can move on. But
All right.
I have to.
Let's move on,
I have to.
Yeah, very quickly. Yes.
You are leaving us after saying this. Wait. Wait and hear the things.
Let's do this one very quickly before you go, because even we have to
We have to finish.
wrap up as well. Let's talk about illegal mining. We'll wrap up with illegal mining.
I can do mine
so
and take a leave.
yes, so let's do illegal mining. So well, in what appears to be our fail against fighting illegal mining, yesterday we saw that press statement from the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and later there was a briefing that he gave to the press, and he said that there are many calls being made by many bodies from UTAG, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, and the rest. Well, government cannot outrightly ban small-scale mining because there are people who are genuinely doing the business and they are complying and they are contributing to the economy. However, the regional ministers have been tasked to intensify the fight against illegal mining. And Kofi, the question on the minds of many people is, if we have failed, admittedly, let's say that we have failed, but after all these years, is this what we are being told now?
I mean, the thing is that, Sarah,
Yeah.
the facts are obvious. If you go to parts of the nation, you see our water bodies polluted. So it is obvious that we are having severe challenges with the fight against galamsey. There's no two ways about it. I will not sit here as a young person, having seen the obvious, to state otherwise. I've seen the River Pra, I've seen other water bodies going to Kumasi, etc. polluted. So I sit here as a young person and condemn in no uncertain terms persons involved in galamsey. It is absolutely wrong for anyone to mine illegally, especially in our water bodies. I condemn it fully. So I support any call that says that we should intensify the fight. I've seen the statements on banning mining, etc. And I've seen ban galamsey. Galamsey is already illegal. So I don't see how you can ban an illegal activity again. Then I've seen comments on ban mining in forest reserves. That I think is a right call, because it's a forest reserve and it's called a reserve for a reason. So we should protect that. I've seen a ban in water bodies. Certainly, I'm all for it. But I have a challenge with saying that we should stop all forms of mining. The law allows people to legally mine. So if persons are legally mining, I don't see why we have to necessarily stop them to be able to fight against illegal mining. So I think that was a bit of a stretch. And I also want to implore unions to go beyond just saying that we should ban. I think the union should call on both political parties, the leading political parties, to make their position on the issues very clear. Very, very clear. Precisely what they are going to do when it comes to illegal mining. Because you see, Malik and his people will come and sit in Accra, condemn illegal mining, say all manner of things. Then they will go into the bush and tell the miners that please go ahead and mine. If the government stops you, when we come, we will allow you to mine. Their lead person on mining, Tony Oben, has been caught on tape saying it. The person whose position Malik is in now, Kofi Tonto, has been caught on tape. Malik's former boss has been caught on tape saying. Malik's superior boss, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has been caught on tape saying that when he comes, he's going to grant amnesty to illegal miners. Then when we pushed them, the argument was that President Mahama was saying that he will grant amnesty to the smaller fish and then jail the big fish. So I asked myself, are you saying that if an armed robber goes to commit an armed robbery, uses a gun, etc., you are not going to punish that young person who pulled the gun or pulled the knife? You let that young person go and only go and find the big man and punish that big man? No, that is not how crime is fought. You have to punish that young person who is equally destroying our water body and find the campaigns and punish the campaigns too. But if you go and tell that young person who has been doing it, is learning on the job, learning all the skills, that when I come, I will let you continue to do it, that young person will become a campaign tomorrow. So when you have a political party, they come to the public, condemn it, we are against it, they share pictures, oh, this is bad. Then the same people go into the hinterlands, go into the bush and tell them, go ahead and mine. When we come, we'll give you the powers to mine. How do we fight corruption that way? That is why I'm calling on unions to charge both political parties to openly declare against galamsey, to openly say that they are going to stop galamsey wherever it is. We have suffered for it. Kofi has indeed put his government on the line.
Is that why your running mate is promising people that they'll be given?
No, that a statement has been issued on that.
But we
so
have
kindly find it.
I have seen the statement.
Yeah, so find the statement and then
I have the statement.
Yeah, so
that it is doctored.
Yeah,
but we have the video.
Yeah, but a video can be. A video can be doctored.
No, but we
a
have
video
it
can be. That's what they are saying is doctored.
We have spoken to a sign interpreter.
Okay. Yeah, the sign interpreter.
Yes, because we needed to standing next to him.
Okay.
So we needed to authenticate whether or not the video has been doctored. I am not an expert in that, but I'm just putting it out there that we have seen the video from different angles, and we've spoken to a sign language interpreter as well, who said the same thing that is being, that has gone viral. But we have equally also seen the statement that says that that video is doctored. So we will take your word for it that the video is doctored.
You have to take my word for it, because that's what the PR of the running mate is saying. So we don't have any other, unless we have other evidence to show that ours is superior. So just to bring everything to a close, political parties must be honest and truthful, so that we can all fight a fight. The fight goes beyond politicians. It includes our chiefs, all traditional leaders, community leaders, and the people who live on those lands. Now we have to show leadership and then bring all these people on board. That is why in our bold solutions, we have put out measures that we feel will help resolve the issue. But because of time, I will not be able to go into it. So I think political parties we must, especially the two of us, come together and condemn it and put out a statement that we condemn all forms of illegal mining, and we all agree that when we come to power, we will stop all forms of illegal mining. That way, one political party will not secretly go into the bushes and go and lie to the people. That is what makes the fight difficult. Akufo-Addo has indeed put his presidency on the line.
Has he?
Yes. Go into the mining areas and look at the 2020 election results. Go and look. We lost almost every constituency, mining constituency.
Okay.
That is putting your government on the line. The people said, you are stopping us from doing illegal mining, we vote against you. And they voted against us. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So I want to ask one question before he goes. Why did you free Aisha One, who was a Galamsey queen?
But was she not jailed recently?
Why did you free
Was she not jailed
Aisha
recently?
One? Did you free
But
her
she's
or
not
not?
freed. She was jailed.
Did you free her or not?
She was jailed. Is she not jailed?
I've told you.
Malik, is she not jailed?
I've told you that don't learn from the vice president. Aisha One was freed. And the senior minister told us.
There was a process.
Can I make my point?
But ultimately
The
she is jailed. Is that not so?
told us that they freed Aisha One because Mr. Akufo-Addo's government wanted money. The senior minister said this.
What are you talking
So why will you free Aisha
What are you
One?
talking about?
Yet Kofi Bedu is in prison. I'm just using a name.
So you
Yet
also
Alassane
Kofi
Abukari is in prison. So President Mahama
So you
says,
also free them.
President Mahama says,
Is that what it is?
I will grant amnesty. Many of those who have been arrested have repented and they have changed.
Oh, I didn't know.
Many of
How
those
much Jesus
people
Christ?
will teach us how persons currently doing Galamsey have been doing it. And so I'll grant amnesty to them and I'll caution them. Let us come on same page and then let us take a decision on the way forward. What's the crime in that? Wound to me has Akonta mines. Is Akonta mines my property? Why haven't you arrested Wound to me? The ministry said Akonta mines had no license to mine in forest reserves. Yet Wound to me has owned up and said Akonta mines belongs to him. They are mining in forest reserves. Why haven't you arrested Wound to me? Your party chairman. You sat here and you are mentioning my former boss and who went and told people. Have you seen any of them engaged in Galamsey? Your party chairman is doing
there are lots
Galamsey.
of NDC
Why?
people
Your national
engaged
women
in
organizer,
Galamsey.
Kejimfua,
There are
their
lots of
machines
people
were bent down
engaged
because of
in
Galamsey.
Galamsey.
Your national women organizer, Kejimfua, her machines were bent down because of Galamsey. You have destroyed over 38 forest reserves in this country, and you are not ashamed of your government. You sit here and you want us to make it a political matter. You people say this, and what I even heard him say that I cringed was that they should ask both political parties to declare their stance. Which stance again? Then it means you've admitted that your government has failed. And if Mr. Akufo-Addo put his presidency on the line, he ought to resign. Why? Where I knew that this fight was just a useless fight was when Frimpong Boateng said they engaged in Galamsey to the extent that they broke Akufo-Addo's wall and they were engaging in Galamsey in his garden. I didn't say it.
That same report said NDC people are doing Galamsey. That same report said NDC people are doing Galamsey.
Please let him
What are you talking about?
I was very mute.
You are mute.
The report, Frimpong Boateng, I have never been appointed Akufo-Addo's minister. In fact, when Akufo-Addo appointed Frimpong Boateng, on the day of the appointment, he said that Frimpong Boateng has never lied. He's so generous. He's so honest. And my sister, who has hole in heart, was operated by Frimpong Boateng. So I know him well. I know how credible the man is. The man said they broke Akufo-Addo's garden and they were mining in Akufo-Addo's house. That day I looked in the skies and I said, my goodness. So Galamsey could be ongoing in Akufo-Addo's house. How will Akufo-Addo even sleep with these excavators working?
Took people
just
there.
because of gold. Can I make my point? Because of gold, the whole Chebi have been condemned. Look, Shewa, I don't know when last you traveled to Kumasi. When you get to Osino, between Osino and Ininem, they are just mining by the road. Look, I'm scared that they may one day cross the road and destroy it. Just by the road, the footages are available. I use that road every day. I have never seen in my life, to the extent that even at Osino, there's a house in the middle and they have chopped around the house. And I wonder how the people go out. Maybe they use a ladder. And you will see machines working and government officials use those roads. And you have the power to prosecute them. And you come and tell me state-owned agencies should invite both parties to come and declare their stance. Declare which stance? Fight it. You are in government. Why?
Yeah.
When Eko Usu said party Hirsika with John Bodu, that is why they are doing Galamsey. They seized excavators, more than 500. They sold about 300 to themselves. Sold. And lied to us they couldn't account for it. You come and tell me to come and discuss with you on Galamsey. When you formed an interministerial committee, the secretary already stated it here, Charles Bissiu. As for that man, only God can save him. Charles Bissiu was
caught from what?
From prosecution. When we come, Charles Bissiu.
So you every day you are hearing from the same people of the people of
Charles
prosecution.
Was caught on tape.
And so have you been promised to debate
for the first time in my life?
Let's go.
I saw someone counting corrupt money on camera.
Look at him.
Charles Bissiu.
Look at him.
The whole committee they set up was collapsed. I watched Galamsey fraud and Galamsey economy, and I saw how the president's relatives were indicted, like Gabi Osoro by Frimpong Boateng again. Frimpong Boateng said when he sacked Heritage Imperial from the forest, he had a call from Gabi. I didn't see it.
This is an issue that has gone to court, and the court has ruled in favor of the company.
It's not true.
What are you talking about?
Why
do you keep lying?
He sacked them from the forest.
Sacking someone.
It was the president's brother, Gabi, who called and warned him never in his life.
He didn't say that. He was warned.
He said he was cautioned. He said he was cautioned to take his hands off.
Always fabricating.
Caution and warn are the same. He was cautioned to stop sacking them and allow them to go in mine. He said that was the day he knew that Akufo-Addo's government is finished.
But Gabi spoke and said he called them.
That I've told you that even after he went, did you watch Atayi's prosecution? I was in court. Atayi said he wasn't guilty. Even when they played it, Atayi said no. I'm coming to Napo. And if Napo decides to add lies to arrogance and incompetence, he will suffer. Look, Napo, you stood on the podium and you said you will give excavators back to the people. Your sign language interpreter interpreted what you were saying. All of a sudden, Napo is swearing every oracle he didn't say that. You see, if you lie on a podium, your sign language interpreter will expose you. And I'm happy that GH1, you've taken a step further. That was so brilliant of you guys. And I need to commend you. To bring a sign language interpreter to interpret. So are they telling us that we now started twisting the girls' hands to say that we will give your excavators back to you? And even with that, they are just lying. You see small boys, they are excavators, and give to your party apparatchiks to go and destroy our forest reserves. So next week, there will be an expose on a company called Unipower. It has destroyed over 13 forest reserves. Unipower. And the CEO of Minerals Commission, AEC, has a hand in it. I'll bring documents next week. Next week, when I expose Unipower, how can you grant reclamation? And I'm just giving you a gist of it. Reclamation to a company that has never worked to go and reclaim land at a free rate. And the company goes and they are engaged in Galamsey. Unipower. Next week, the CEO of Minerals Commission, he will hear from us. What they have done to our forest reserves, only God can tell. And we sit in Accra here. And even water to drink is becoming a problem. When I see our water bodies, I feel frustrated. I was in Doma, and Doma Hene showed me one of his water bodies. So neat. Because he will not allow Galamsey there. Doma Hene showed me. And yet, government officials, you have decided to encroach. The eastern region is gone as we speak now. No forest reserve is surviving. They have chopped everything. And that is Akufo-Addo's hometown. And you come and look, I feel like weeping sometimes when I see how you pretentiously sit on TV and you say CEO state agency should call us. When we are office, president you say CSOs should call us and ask us our positions. Haven't you been listening to President Mahama?
All right, thank you very much.
I'll land on this. If you listen too much, to Bamba and Napo, you will not listen to President Mahama.
Thank you.
We are going to use IT. What? To fight Galamsey. We'll use AI. And look, I've listened to all policies.
This is a man.
How you use AI to fight Galamsey?
This is a man who failed.
Can I explain that?
And his minister actually came out that they have given up on the fight on Galamsey. Your minister came out.
They are in government.
They have
failed. Let me explain AI. AI records real-time events to people. And that is why I can say
AI does what?
Records real-time. Listen attentively. Real-time effects.
So how will that fight Galamsey?
So with AI, all we need to do is to sit in Accra and we can locate where Galamsey is being done, because on the topography we are going to map every area. Do you know that currently the Minerals Commission can sit in Accra.
But a satellite can locate where every mining is being done. What are you talking about?
He doesn't understand AI.
But you don't understand
so
AI.
Let me explain.
AI is artificial intelligence.
Please, it's not your
So
policy.
explain to us which aspect of
When it's done, let me
artificial
proceed.
intelligence you are going
We
to
have
use.
to go.
You don't just say AI. You don't even understand.
He doesn't want you to explain that policy
You
because
don't even understand what you're talking about.
AI is
Again,
going to report real-time events. That is why I can.
AI records real
He doesn't
time.
want me to talk. He
No,
knows my
AI
policy
is a
is good.
broader thing.
Ghanaian
Aspect
people
of
We
AI.
have
know
to go.
that
Thank
our
you very
policy is
much.
good.
Thank
And our
you.
policy is going to
Thank you, gentlemen. Kofi Tonto is the political aide to the Vice President.